Well, hello guys, ¿qué pasa? What's up? Antonio Serrano here, and today I have a video that's one of my favorite types of videos, because I'm going to talk about one of my fixed shows. Tonight I have a show, and it is one of those shows that I love. It's in some kind of, I don't know how to say the word in English. In Spanish we call it chiringuito, something like that. It's a place where you can eat and drink very close to the beach. Okay, let's put it that way. So it's one of my favorite places because it's a place where the crowd, the audience that I have, is my target audience, a family audience, okay? Adults and kids. The more I perform there, the more adults that come without children, right? Because they realize that my show is not for kids. That's something that tends to happen a lot, at least here in Spain, that people think that magic shows are only for children. So little by little I am making a reputation in different places, and a lot of grown-ups come to see me because they really have a very good time. So in this place I'm going to perform my full show, my full fixed show for this year, and I'm going to show you what this show is about. This show would be show number 4. I have 5 different fixed shows. I change things around from one to another, or new routines that I develop or that I discover, they go in and another routine comes out. And this show would be show number 4, and I'm going to show you everything that I carry around in this tool case. This is a case that I bought in a hardware store, right? Something like that. And it is great. It is a great, very sturdy, and it's quite heavy. This show could be the heaviest show that I perform, and you are going to see why in a couple of minutes. A lot of heavy objects in here. So let's get started. First of all, I have to take out the things that are not exactly magic related, but they play a big part in the show. As you can see, I have some an organizer here in the lid, and more things behind this organizer. So first of all, this mobile phone is a mobile phone that has inside the music for my show. This mobile phone is always in plane mode, plane mode, okay? It's not connected to the internet in any way, shape or form, only just to put music. And I've got here all of the folders for all of my shows, like number 1, number 2, 3, 4 and 5. And sometimes if I have like a theme show, for example the Halloween show or something like that, I have the music right here too. So this is something that comes out and gets connected via Bluetooth to my PA system right from the get-go. And also another bit and piece here, I have this collapsible box, and this is on top of my side table. I have 2 tables, are exactly the same. They are speaker stands with projector tables, projector base on top. And in one of them I put on the case, and in the other one this collapsible box. Inside this collapsible box I have 2 silks, a red silk and a white silk, 9-inch silks. Why? Because in this place they don't get that wrinkly, right? They are nice and flat. I'm going to talk about those in a minute. So this gets set up like this, right? And on here is where I place my notice, let's say, this kind of banner with a couple of pins, right? I put it here, and people can see my Facebook page and my Instagram. And this is very important because in all of my shows I have some kind of prediction or multiple predictions that people have to go to my history, my story in Instagram, and they can see what the prediction is. So it's very important for people to clearly see this, right? The reason why my Instagram is this weird is because I don't want people to see my stories ahead of time before they even arrive to the show. So this is here. I'm not going to show you the setup of the whole show. I'm just going to show you all the things that I got in here and the order in which I do the tricks. So let's get started. I think that about bits and pieces I have everything covered. I always have inside of the case a pair of scissors. In this show specifically I use the pair of scissors in a couple of routines, but in some other shows I don't need a pair of scissors. I don't care. I must have a pair of scissors. I have this very big pair of scissors because I'm using this to cut rope and paper. But if I am performing a show where I don't need scissors that are that big, I just put there a small pair of scissors, always. Also a marker. In this specific show I don't need a marker, but I have it there, always, right here. It is right here. And also a pack of cards. In this show, I don't need a pack of cards. I have a card trick, but with bigger cards, but I always have a pack of cards and a couple of duplicates if I want to do some close-up magic or something like that at the end of the show, right? Which is a lot of the times what people remember the most. When you finish the show, the whole thing, and you, let me show you something quick, and they are, oh my god, the show was great, but this was killer, okay? So you have to be prepared for those things. And as I explained to you, I think in other videos, I always put in here some close-up routines that I am working on, right? And I do them at the end of the show, because if they fail, it's not that bad, because it is like an extra. I'm doing something for you at the end of the show. Most of the audience is already at home, so it is a great way to get some flight time with your close-up magic. For me, most of all, because I don't perform close-up magic that often. Okay, let's continue. Here I've got the set list. Very important to have the set list. This set list is printed, right? But most of the times, if I have to change something, I have a set list that I write with this marker, right? Very important to have it there. If I am doing a cabaret show, for example, the routines that are children routine in my family show, they move out, and I put in there other more routines that are for adults. And the same way around, if I am performing a kids show in a school or something like that, the routines that are more towards the adults, they move out, and I put in there like the coloring books, sponge balls, things like that. So every time I change something from the fixed show of that year, I have to do a different set list. But all of the different set lists that I do, I write them by hand with a marker. This is the only set list that I print, the set list from that year's show, which is the show that I do the most. I try to change around the show as little as possible, because I really want to try out all the routines every year in the fixed show. So this is the set list. I'm going to keep it here, so I'm sure that I don't forget anything. So the very first routine that I do is my chop cup routine. And the hook in this routine is that this routine doesn't fit in my hand. In Spanish we say no me entra, like it doesn't fit inside my head, it doesn't fit. So I am using there the wordplay of it doesn't fit, because that's the idea of the chop cup. I don't know how these things fit in here. So what I need is this chop cup, right? Like a wide mouth chop cup, and inside of here I've got an onion and a paper napkin. The onion, I just take it out of the fridge, so it starts to froth. That's the word, very funny word for me in English. So I put a paper napkin in there just to make sure that the chop cup and the rest of the things in the case is not going to get all wet. Then I've got the ball that I use in the chop cup, tinfoil ball. We already talked about that in other videos. Then I have this ball that is flat, and this ball appears from my shoe at the end of the routine. Then I have the orange, also wrapped in paper napkins, paper towels. This is the first load, and the onion is the second load. And then I have this kitchen cloth, right? This goes on top of the side table. For the first routine, the collapsible box is on top of the case, so I have the side table completely free to perform the chop cup. And then I've got in here, inside this bag, a very big rock, right? And this is the rock that comes out of my shoe. So the idea of the routine is 3 phases with the ball, then the orange appears, then the onion appears. I don't know, it's impossible, this doesn't fit in my hand, or this doesn't fit in my cup. But what I don't understand is how the ball managed to get into my shoe. I dumped the flattened ball from my shoe, and then I said, no, but this is not the thing that was bothering me. What bothers me is this big rock. It doesn't fit, I don't know, it doesn't fit in my head. Probably this sentence makes no sense in English, but in Spanish it's quite funny. So this comes out of my shoe. And this is put on top of the side table, and then I move the collapsible box, and this is the whole time in full view next to the box in the side table, right? And I'm going to explain to you why in a minute. And also I've got this thing here, which is a harness that I created with some pieces of rope, rubber bands, foam, and this is the harness that I use to have the rock on me before I load it into my shoe. I didn't like the idea of having the rock because this is a very big rock. I didn't like the idea of having the rock on my back pocket, which is the way that I think most people do it. I didn't like it because most of the times when I perform, I have people on my size. I do some moves during the chop cup routine where I pretend that I poop the ball. So a lot of the times my girlfriend and friends say to me, we could see the rock in your pocket. We saw it. I don't know how you put the rock in the shoe, but we saw the rock in there. So I think that the impact gets minimized when people know that you have a rock in your pocket, right? It's not that powerful. So I pretty much like to have the rock completely hidden, and when it appears, it's a pretty big shock, I can tell you that. Okay, so in all of my shows, the second routine that I do is like my introduction. I have like a voiceover, different for every show, like a voiceover that introduces me. And in this show, the idea is that I have to be an influencer. I don't want to be an influencer, but this voiceover wants me to be an influencer because that's the fastest way to be famous doing anything you want. You want to be a magician, you want to be a singer, you want to be a dancer. First you have to be an influencer, and then you can do anything you want. Very funny voiceover, then I hide myself anywhere and the voiceover introduces me and I come out. So the thing that I have to be an influencer is a recurring theme during the show. And it's a great callback because at the end of the show, the same voiceover is going to ask people to follow me on Instagram and take a look at my last story. And that's where the prediction gets found, right, in Instagram. Pretty cool. And the only object that I need for that introduction from that comedy routine is this electric deck. I talk about this in my homemade magic, why you should build your own magic. And it's basically some cards stapled together in this accordion pleat kind of fashion. And this is the only object that I need for the introduction bit. Then the next routine we have is Killer Cut, I think it is by Jay Sankey. And I need the scissors. This thing is inside of my pocket, and this is something that I try to do in all of my shows, try to minimize the amount of times that I go in my case. If I can have that in my pocket, I have this in my pocket. It's annoying, you have to load yourself before the show, but yeah, when you have to be moving around, oh, I need a pen, oh, I need this, oh, I need the scissors, you have it on you. That's the best thing that you can do. I love routines where the whole routine is on you. I love that because you don't even have to move. You just have to connect with the audience, and all of the things that you need come out of your pockets. That's great. So I need the scissors, and here behind the lid I have this paper bag that contains the list, right? I'm not going to talk about method here, but the list, if you know how to perform Killer Cut by Jay Sankey, you know how the list, and the list has a lot of food-related items and cleaning items and hygiene items, things that you can buy at a supermarket. And the hook is that I have worked so many years as seller, selling cars, selling clothes, selling food in different retail stores, that I know what a person is going to choose to buy and not choose to buy from that list. So someone asks stop, I cut, and they tend to cut in half the word comb, which is quite funny. If I have a bold person in the crowd, I always pick on him, and that's my character. Probably it's not something that you can do or that you would like to do, but in my country and where I'm from, we are pretty open to that kind of stuff. So inside the bag I have a giant comb, a very big comb, cut in half. And this is my prediction, a very big comb cut in half, nothing else inside the paper bag. And this is extremely funny because it's a very big comb, so people react first because it is a comb cut in half, and secondly because it's very big. And I have a lot of jokes. Have you seen my head? I have a very big head, so the size of the head, the size of the comb, that's how it works, right? Proportions, please. So it's quite funny. And it's a very fast routine, right? The chop cup, it's a little bit more of a procedure. It has a lot of effects, the ball, the fruit, the rock. Then we have like the comedy routine, so people know that they are going to laugh with me with the introduction. And then we finish that first segment with the comb, which is extremely fast. It's just one effect, it's just a prediction, but it's like, oh, come on, I work as a seller a lot of the time, selling things. Could you please help me say stop any place you want? Oh, you cut in half, comb. Here you have it, comb. It's quite fast and quite powerful. You can think a lot about how this trick worked and you would have no idea. So it's quite powerful. Yeah. Okay, the next routine is a routine that is a little bit slower and more comedy based. Because in this routine, the magical impact is not going to happen at the end of the routine, it's going to happen at the end of the show. And it's something that I quite like. and it is my periodical prediction, right? And it's quite simple. When I talk to magicians about this routine, they are like, really? It's simply a card force and the selection, and you have like a piece of paper saying 9 of spades in a newspaper? That's the trick? Yeah, and people loved it. Because a lot of the times we dismiss simple things, like we dismiss forcing a card and predicting the card. We dismiss that. But the thing is, how entertaining can it be? If you do a simple trick extremely entertaining, people are going to love it. So what you need is a piece of newspaper, and that's the last thing that I have behind the lead organizer. A piece of newspaper is just only one sheet, and in here I have an A4 piece of paper that says 9 of spades. As simple as that, right? And the joke is, and this is a gag that I learned from Juan Tamariz, is I want to be a serious magician, so I start doing like that, and every time I do this with my hand, everyone goes, oh, and everyone goes, ah, and at the end of this little skit with the newspaper, I say, and do you know what I'm going to do with the newspaper? I'm going to put it under the table because it is a little bit wobbly, and I put this under the side table leg, and people think like, oh my god, it's just a joke. People laugh a lot. Sometimes even people clap because they think that you are going to do something extremely difficult with the newspaper, and it is just a silly joke. And then I pull out this semi-jumbo parlor size deck of cards, right, that I bought in a shop nearby. So I don't even bought this in a magic shop. And this deck has some mark cards. The first two cards are the 4 of clubs and the 8 of hearts, and I know these cards by heart. And the 4 of clubs has some marks on the corners, so I can know where the card is. And then I have the 2 of diamonds, and the name in Spanish obviously is written on the back. Then I have the 5 of clubs and the name is written, and then I have the 7 of hearts also written, but it is the other way around, right? And then I have the 2 cards that I'm going to force, the King of Hearts and the 9 of Spades. And in the middle of the pack I've got the 3 of Hearts that has some red dots in the corners, okay? So this is everything I need in this deck, because the first thing that I do is a gag mark cards that I learned from Simon Lovell's DVD Man of Danger. I don't remember the volume. So I have these crazy glasses, and the cool thing is that I bought these glasses even before I got a chance to purchase the DVD from Simon Lovell. But I bought these glasses because they are so crazy. So a lot of the times you see an object, you don't have a news for it, but you have to buy it because in the future you will. So they are basically a couple of glasses. They only have one space to put the glass there. I remove it, and this is basically a pair of glasses, or let's say a glass that women use to apply makeup. So they can see with this eye, and this eye gets the makeup applied. So you can move this piece from one eye to the other, so now you can apply makeup on the other eye. But people don't know this. So when people see these glasses, they get mesmerized, like, oh my god, what are these? They say, those are expert gambling glasses. You put this on, and you can see the markings of the cards. You have to close one of your eyes, and the other one stays open. And if you move this around, it's easier if you can see better with one eye or the other. And people laugh a lot with this because it's a very strange object. So what I do is, oh, I can see the markings, 4 of clubs, and here I can see the marking, 8 of hearts, and then I give the glasses away to a spectator, and they see this, and the whole crowd laughs a lot, and the spectator laughs a lot. The spectator is not silly, but it is quite funny. It's like the glasses are working, right? Then I force the 2 cards, I force the King of Hearts and the 9 of Spades. There I do kind of Rune Clan routine that he has in his book. I think it's Rune's World, something like that, when he says, I'm going to do the easy trick and the difficult trick, and give me your card, the King of Hearts. Okay, your card is the King of Hearts, thank you very much. And now I'm going to do the easy trick, right? It's quite funny. And then I do some gags with the 9 of Spades, and I say, do you know what Chekhov's gun is? Right? Chekhov's gun. Do you know what Chekhov's gun is? And I pull out the piece of paper, the newspaper that was under the table, and I show that the 9 of Spades is there, right? Because we established from the very first moment that the card that I'm going to guess is only the 9 of Spades, this spectator's card, not this one, right? At the end of the show, when they go to my Instagram story, they are going to find the 9 of Spades and the King of Hearts, which is killer. So the full magical impact of this routine gets the payoff, has its payoff, at the end of the show, not at the end of the routine, right? And one more thing, the reason why I have the 3 of hearts marked with red dots in the middle of the deck is because the gag of at the end of that sequence is that I'm trying to find the 9 of spades, but the easy thing for a magician is find it. The difficult thing for a magician is not to find it. So what I do is I look for the red dot and I pull out the 3 of hearts. Because in some shows I pull out the 9 of clubs or the 8 of spades, and they are pretty similar. So I really wanted a card completely different to the 9 of spades. So I mark the 3 of hearts and that's it. And the 4 of clubs, which is the first card, has black dots because that makes my life extremely easy. I can reset the deck before I put it in the box, and I put the box in the case. So I am reset for the next show without having to use some time, having to spend some time at the end of the show. While I am looking for the 3 of hearts, I cut until I see the black dots, then I look for the 3 of hearts, and then I put the 3 of hearts in the middle, and the deck is reset. So it's a very simple routine, method-wise, but a lot of jokes, a lot of gags, a lot of things happening at the same time. The gag with the newspaper that people think is not related, at the end is related. So yeah, an outstanding and simple routine. Then I have my silk routine, which is inspired, I would say 99% in Scott Alexander's, right? Sense of color, right? And I've got here a thumb tip because that's my gimmick of choice. I don't like the fingertip, I don't like the die tube, I only use the thumb tip. I use the 2 silks that I talked previously about, that I kept inside the collapsible box so they don't get wrinkly. And the last thing that I need is the silk fountain, which I have right here, the silk fountain. I talk about this silk fountain in my homemade magic video, and I've got here a bag with confetti that I need to load the last section of the silk fountain because I want confetti to drop at the end because it's quite magical and because it makes sense in the story that I'm telling. And I also use this confetti in the last routine of the show. So yeah, silk routine, great, they pack very small, and this routine, I love it because everything I need is on me. In this pocket, in the right side pocket of my jacket, I have the thumb tip with the red and the white silk prepared in a very specific manner to be ready to do the first change of color, and then the whole silk fountain, it's loaded in my right back trouser pocket. So it is great. It is a great routine, packs very small, and it's quite colorful, can fill up a whole stage. Very good. The next routine, it's the skipping rope, and this is basically Michael Finney rope routine with some changes in the middle, but I frame it, the hook is that it is my skipping rope. So I need the skipping rope, and I also need the scissors that I used previously for the comb trick. And very important, I have the rock on the side of the collapsible block. On top of the rock, I put the scissors because I'm going to be needing them later. And under the rock, I place the newspaper. Like, oh my god, I don't want this to fly out. Oh, this is the best paperweight you're going to find in your whole life. And I put it there. So I have next to my collapsible box, rock, paper, and scissors, which is a great segue to the routine that I have after the ropes. So this is something great that you can apply to a lot of your routines. You have a rope routine, but instead of just saying I have here a piece of rope, I have here my skipping rope, and I'm going to tell you the story of how I bought this skipping rope and the guy that worked at the toy store, how he cut the skipping rope to match my size and all that stuff. And the only thing that I have to do is remove the handles from the very get-go of the routine, and then we have the piece of rope, and we can do the whole sequence. But it is not a piece of rope, now it is a skipping rope, which is closer for everyone, adults and kids alike. So, rock, paper, scissors, when I take those 3 things from the side of the collapsible box and I'm like, where can I put this? And I'm like, oh my god, rock, paper, scissors. And I love that because adults and even children, older children, can see that you have put time and effort to create this show, that you really have thought about everything, all the connections. These are not random tricks, one after the other, okay? So I do this trick, I have talked about this trick in my top 5 tricks with helpers, and I also talk about this trick in magic with balloons. They are basically 5 pieces of paper with neck holders, 5 kids, normally 4 kids and an adult get on stage, they choose one, they hang it on their necks, and they play in couples, in pairs, rock, paper, scissors, until only one remains. One by one they get eliminated, and every time they get eliminated, we see the piece of paper, we unfold it, and there is an animal, a cat, a cow, a dog, and they have to make the noise, and then they can sit down. So every time a kid goes like woo woo or brr, the whole audience is like, oh, pretty funny. So that's like people are having a good time and you are doing nothing. You are taking advantage of how funny kids are. And obviously if the grown-up loses and he has to leave, okay, do the sound of the cat, and they go, yeah. Extremely funny too, extremely funny, okay? I really like intelligent humor. I really like to use puns and very thought out jokes, but then you realize that the silliest of things are the things that make people laugh the most. So you have to oblige, you have to go, yes, I agree with you 100%. Okay, the only thing that I need for that routine is this extra billet, which is the animal that I am forcing for the winner, and I use Jay Sankey's paper clip to switch it. And then the only thing that I need is the balloon octopus, which is the prediction, okay? They are competing for the balloon, and the balloon is the octopus, which is the animal of the winner, which is a very tight, very scripted routine. And at the end of the show, when people go through my Instagram, they are going to find an octopus which is holding the cards, the comb, the silk, the color silk that a kid selected, and I use the magician choice for that. So it's quite funny. It's quite funny and quite outstanding, the Instagram prediction. Okay, let's continue. Then I have my Fanta trick, and this is my rendition, my change to the vanishing bandana. I never liked the vanishing bandana. I am not a very big fan of disgusting things like the banana smoosh and all that. I don't like it. So what I use is, oh, I forgot something very important. This toilet paper, I also need it for the introduction bit. Sorry, I forgot. Get out. So, and it's quite good if you have a stain on you or the fruit gets wet and all that stuff. Very good thing to have on you at all times. So this is like my rendition, my change, my adaptation of the vanishing bandana. So Fanta de naranja, orange Fanta, in Spanish sounds very similar to tanga naranja, Fanta naranja, tanga naranja, Fanta naranja, tanga naranja, which is an orange thumb. Yeah, that's what I've got in here, right? And I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, oh my god, you really are showing this in a family show? Yes. And adults and kids love it. It's like a little bit on the line of things that you can do and things that you cannot do in a family show, but I love walking that line like a cat. The best comedians and the best artists are the ones that do that, walking right on the line, right? So I love doing that. And in this routine, basically, I use this, I vanish this inside of a devil's handkerchief and some orange confetti drops. I have this glass because the joke is that the voiceover, which is the same voiceover that talks to me about Instagram throughout the show, I have to do a trick advertising something that I like as an influencer. And truly, people that know me knows that my favorite drink is Fanta, orange Fanta. So I pull out the voiceover is telling me what I have to do, the glass, the handkerchief, a straw, which in fact is a piece of tubing, plastic tubing, so it's never going to break or fold or anything like that, but it looks like a straw. And you need an orange Fanta, and what I pull out is this, right? And I have to do all of the things that the voiceover says that you should do with liquid, but with this. So it's basically the same idea of vanishing bandana, but using this. And at the end of the routine, the voiceover says, you did it so well that we introduce as a present an orange thumb. And then I go through my case and I find this. And this is the moment when I leave completely devastated. It's a very simple, very straightforward routine, but very, very funny. And something that I did was open this can from the bottom. I make a hole here, psst, all the liquid came out, and with metal scissors, I open it up and I put some American tape, duct tape, something like that, very strong tape, so I'm not going to cut myself. And this is basically hollow if I need the space to fit more things inside, which in fact I don't, right? But in case I need to fit something inside, if I want to make a longer show, I can fit in here like more ropes, some sponge balls, things like that. and I have a couple of routines extra without any additional space, so that's very good. And now we are in our last routine. In our last routine, which is a handcuff scape, I've got in here, this is something also very important. This is a bag full of balloons, modeling balloons, round balloons, because a lot of the times you have to do something quickly for a kid or something like that. I always carry around a bag full of balloons, even though I don't need them in the show. So for the handcuff scape, I started with the gag. I've got here a picture of Harry Houdini. Oh my god, he escaped. Pretty usual gag, but people loved it. And here I have the handcuffs, right? Basic Houdini handcuffs. I don't know the name exactly of these handcuffs. And then I have this carabiner, right, with the 2 locks and a ring with the 2 keys. So I'm sure that this is not going to get loose. I asked a spectator to examine this. I asked the other spectator to examine the locks and open both of the locks. So once both locks are open, he handed me the keys go inside the case, and I close the case. You don't know the amount of times that children, very young children, said to me, "Oh, I know how to escape. You had the keys in the suitcase." And the parents are like, "Are you crazy? He was like in and out extremely fast. How are you going to do that with the keys? It's impossible, right?" But kids think that if you have the keys here and the lid is open, you can do that. So I take the carabiner with the keys, I dump it in here, or most of the times I hang the carabiner in here, in one of the pockets in the lid organizer, so they are not going to get lost because this is quite small. And then I tie myself and I do the routine. And inside my jacket, in the inside pockets, I've got this kazoo, which is something that is quite traditional here in the south of Spain, to sing carnival songs. Here in Spain, every year we have a carnival, and I would love to make a video about that and how that influenced my way of understanding magic. And this is something that I give to the spectator on my left, and I pull out the bag of confetti, which is right here. The bag of confetti, I pull it out, and it's extremely funny because I am moving my hands out of the handcuffs. And both of the spectators are holding my jacket right here, trying to cover what I'm doing, but they can't because I am doing it even before they put the jacket up. And okay, take a little bit of confetti from here, thank you. And you take this, can you go do? And what I try to find is a person that doesn't know how to play this, because they go and they blow. If you blow, this doesn't work. You have to sing it. You have to go and that's how it sounds. So, quite funny, I get out of the handcuffs with some costume music that I made, and I also would love to make a video about how I make my costume music to fit my routines and the program and the keyboard that I use. Everything is finished, thank you very much, oh my god, and the voiceover starts speaking to me one more time. "Antonio, do you know what Chekhov's gun is?" And I'm like, "No, that's my line, you stole my line. Oh my god, that's not possible. Chekhov's gun, what are you talking about?" "I have been talking," and the voiceover says, "I have been talking about Instagram a lot of time. Why don't you say people to go to your Instagram?" And people go into my Instagram and they can see the story with the octopus, the cards, the comb, all of the predictions during the show are there. So that would be about it. The only thing that remains here are the marker and some business cards, and I've got here the set list. So this would be my whole 1 hour and 15 minutes show, 1 hour and 20 minutes show, which is more or less the time that I like to spend when I'm doing a family show, depending on the venue. And that would be my show number 4. I hope that you find this information useful. I hope that you find some ideas that you are interested in. If you have any idea, any comment, please let me know under the comment box section below. Please subscribe, and as always, I see you in a near future.